Welcome back to Journey Alberta. I'm Sean, and today, since we're in the age of COVID and the social distancing and everything to do with that, I haven't been able to get out to do really any new videos. So I thought, for today, I would take a step back. We're going to watch an older video, but we're going to do it together. And I'm going to be giving you guys some kind of insights, behind the scenes looks, I guess. Some little tidbits of info from when I made this video. And the video that I'm going to be watching today, if you couldn't already tell from the title, was, I called it One with Nature, a Backcountry Experience. Basically what it was back in 2016, I had just got my Panasonic camera. I had shot a couple videos with it before, just barely started talking on camera as well. Moved up from using just my GoPro to shoot videos for about a few months. So this is still really early into my Journey Alberta experience from back when I created it. The premise was I was going backcountry camping by myself for the first time. And you know what? Let's start it right there. So this is 2016, or 2020 now. So this is 4 years ago. I look a little younger, maybe slightly skinnier too. Alright, here we go.
This is Calgary.
Open up on some shots of Calgary.
The day-to-day life here can be described as a rat race.
I'm kind of talking about how
always pushing deeper into our lives.
Just giving a bit of background on what Calgary is, who I am, because this was kind of more of a
or gaming device with them every
separate project, I guess, from what I consider Journey Alberta to be at the time.
Evolution is that the best experiences can come from pulling away from electronics and simply going outside.
There we go. And yeah, me saying sometimes the best experiences can come from pulling away from our devices and electronics. That's something I've really stressed over the years, getting out into nature. Going for a walk even, just around your block. You can experience nature. So now, this is a Nose Hill Park in Calgary actually. And I went out there by myself, the tripod, my camera. Shot this little intro.
To be the unknown, traversing areas
there's a cat scratch on my finger, or my finger on my hand right in that shot.
What really piqued my interest in the outdoors was when I traveled to the Rocky Mountains for the first time, and I felt the mountains calling to me ever since. And
you know, as cheesy as that line is when I say that I felt the mountains calling to me ever since, it's kind of true. Like, I didn't see the mountains till I was maybe, what was that, around 13 years old? Never saw them in my life, and then I believe my family, we went through Fernie, Radium, up through Banff, stuff like that, and that was quite an experience for me, and just loved the mountains ever since. So when I moved to Calgary, of course I was going to the mountains, as much as I can.
As someone who works in the communication sector, I'm always in front of a computer screen. As soon as spring weather begins,
I am always in front of a computer screen.
I always feel excited to explore the outdoors in and around the city. Some people choose to go camping.
That was my old place I used to live in as well.
Can generally
it was a basement suite.
As sleeping in a massive trailer with every modern convenience inside. I will be hiking to the Point Backcountry Campground in Kananaskis for a
This was actually the second time I had been to the Point Backcountry Campground. Obviously, going out somewhere on my own for the first time, I wasn't going to be going somewhere I've never been before. And that's very important to remember as well when you're going into
immersive experience with nature,
anywhere really, especially by yourself. If you feel confident and comfortable enough to be going out by yourself, you really got to know that area. People got to know where you are as well. You got to let people know that kind of stuff as well.
First time ever, but also I'm really excited to.
I remember this scene right here. So this is the night before I left camping. I was actually pretty nervous shooting this scene right here because I'm thinking about it. I'm going to be out there by myself. It was during the week. It was still spring. So there wasn't a likelihood that there would be a ton of other people out there, which I was all for, but also the flip side of that, there's not as many people out there.
To get to the campground and to experience a more raw part of nature away from devices and electronics.
And that was really the whole part of this. What I wanted to do here was getting out, away from nature, away from devices and electronics to show you.
I start my journey from Calgary,
don't need them.
Heading west along the Trans-Canada Highway.
Yeah, you can see me singing right there,
Highway 40,
playing drums on the steering wheel.
Kananaskis, where the towering mountains soon surround the vehicle.
So one of my favorite drives actually on the
and then one of my favorite day use
heading into Kananaskis. Anyway, heading into Kananaskis for Bright Creek or
Provincial Park.
near
Home to
Barrier
both
Lake, which
Upper and
this
Lower
is near Barrier
Kananaskis
Lake
lakes.
right here. I'm heading into the Peter Lougheed Provincial Park. Here's the Upper Kananaskis Lake now.
I've made it out to the Kananaskis area. I've just started the...
Something I don't even think I even mentioned in this video at all, actually, when I did it, was it was a hot day out. Now this was probably, I want to say this was in May, actually, because there's still some snow, residual snow on the ground in this. It may have been early June, but I'm pretty sure it was middle of May, maybe. But this was a hot day out, remember that.
hike to the Point Backcountry Campground. It's beautiful out today, barely any wind
This
at
was
all.
also the first time I
And
ever carried
It's pretty warm already, and it's only
like,
about
that
noon.
much equipment on me
So
as
I'm gonna
well.
continue on now.
Because not only am I carrying my backpack and all my camping
first
stuff,
part
but I
of
also
the
have my
trail goes
camera
through a
gear with me
forested
as well,
section that stays
in a
mainly
completely
flat,
separate
making for an easy beginning.
thing attached to my backpack. You might be able to see it in some of the shots, actually. That hike is beautiful, also. Really
The trail
like that
divides
hike.
off into two different directions after 0.9 kilometers. And
Funny enough, actually, where this trail splits off, I have only ever done the 1.5 kilometer section, now that I think about it. I've never done the 1.3 one that's north of it, I
I
guess.
opt to take the lower
Only ever done
pathway
the upper one.
closest to the
Or,
lake.
sorry, I've only ever done the lower one. And I widely consider that to be the easiest part of the hike too, by far. You can cover a kilometer or two, or a
This
kilometer and
section
a half,
has
I think
a
of
lot of
that.
up and downs, with the end of it
No
becoming
time
a
at
steady
all.
but manageable incline.
And like I said too, this trail is really nice, and really anyone can do it. Like, you don't have to be going specifically to backcountry camp to hike to Point. And I've done that in the winter time with my friend Jesse. We've gone out there, we've hung out near the lake or whatever. It's a short trail, you know, anyone can do it. And you can even make the detour trip a little bit past, a kilometer past, to the Upper Kananaskis Falls, I think it's called, which is in this video as well, I think, now that I remember. Yeah. I'll give you a guess as well, if you can
The
tell
first
me
section is where I deem to be the most difficult.
what one of my main inspirations for doing video is. I'll give you a second. Just watching this. So if you haven't guessed, one of my main inspirations, I don't know if I've ever really mentioned it before, but it's Survivor Man Les Stroud.
Since you were out in the open,
Watched
with no
his
shade,
shows
thanks to a rock slide
all
on
the time
road
as
that covered
a
the
kid
area and
growing
lots
up.
of huge boulders.
Certain times of the day, getting home from school, Survivor Man Beyond, so I'd watch it, and that kind of festered my love of the outdoors. So this was almost my kind of ode, inspiration. Kind of I was inspired to do this
As
video
soon as I'm
basically
out of the
because
rock
of
slide
Survivor
area,
Man.
I can tell I must be close to the campground.
Okay, so now we're at the campground. What I didn't really show in there was when I was going through the rocky area where the rock slide had happened. That area got really hot because you're very exposed. It was probably plus 30 out that day. It was hot. It was very hot.
Well, I've made it. Made it to the Point Back.
This shot right here, I have a funny story about. So, when I was out there and I did the shot, I didn't turn. I don't know if you can see it right here. Dip it down. There's my fuzzy microphone. I didn't turn my microphone on for the shot. I must have bumped it or something. And so it's actually off in the shot, but you're probably wondering, why can't I hear what he's saying? Because when I got home, I looked at the clip, I saw that there was no audio at all. You can't hear me, nothing. But I knew what I said at the very beginning, and I said, I've made it. I've made it to the Point Backcountry Campground. And you'll see here, I cut away from that when I was editing, and I don't know actually what I originally talked about when I did this clip. But yeah, what you're hearing right here, I added in after I was already home.
Country camp. And it took me about 2 hours to get out here. Now the reason for that is that I took my time to get out here because I was taking in
Very
all
beautiful
of
campground
the
out there.
incredible scenery of these mountains.
If you're looking
around
for
here and the
your
lake.
first backcountry
And
experience,
even the rock slide area.
Point's a
everything
good one.
just seems
Point
so
Backcountry
surreal
Campground in
and gave me
Kananaskis.
such
It's definitely a
an
good
amazing
one.
feeling.
There's the bathroom.
I make my way through the campground, seeing there's no firewood in the
Yeah,
bin.
there was
I
no
see the
firewood
site with some
at the
already
pit,
its pit.
at the thing there. Luckily, there was some firewood that someone had taken, I'm guessing from the wood pile, and put it down by the fire pit. I was pretty happy with that. I did actually really like the site that I was at because I was right near the river, and falling asleep to the sound of the river was much nicer than just dead silence, which is what happened when my friend Jesse and I had camped out there, I believe, the year before.
Like about half the other sites are. It's actually overlooking the Kananaskis River.
Yeah.
Behind.
Overlooking the Kananaskis River. Beautiful.
And behind me is where I'm going to set my tent. And yeah, it looks like a great place, lots of privacy, and you know, it's going to be a really great place to kind of experience nature.
It was a good spot, I have to admit. And really, like, I've got the question multiple times from either friends or family that maybe don't frequent the mountains as much as, say, I do, or, you know, avid hikers or anything. But I always get the question about bears, like, well, don't you worry about bears when you're out there? And honestly, I don't. I worried about it the night before because I'd never been out there by myself. But when I got out there and I maybe started hiking for 10 minutes, totally forget about it. But that doesn't mean I fall into complacency. I'm still making noise and making sure everyone or everything knows I'm there. I always like getting shots like this of setting up the tent. Those are some of my favorite ones to get. You always see a time lapse of me
my tent set up. I'm
setting up a
gonna
tent.
go through my pack now to show you kind of what I've brought out here with me.
So this part you'll really see the Survivor Man
first,
influence.
I've got my harmonica, just in case I get
Brought a
bored.
harmonica out there, and now I'm kind of going through my pack, and as
good
he
rope.
has in his episodes, so I'm kind of showing you everything that I brought out with me.
So I brought it out here just in case. A flashlight, crankable flashlight. So it doesn't take batteries, so it's sufficient that way.
And honestly, I don't use those crank flashlights anymore because I found that they just kept dying too fast, and ones that I have with rechargeable batteries in them,
drink straight from it with
they didn't die as fast, and they were brighter. So I've actually opted to go with those.
First aid kit. It comes with a lot of stuff like gauze, bandage, even a little pair of scissors.
Something to mention too about first aid kits is I have a different one than that now. It's waterproof actually as well. To make sure you know exactly what's in it, because I want to say 4 years ago when I made this video that I knew exactly what was in that first aid kit. I'm not sure if I did, but you should know exactly what is in your first aid kit and how to use everything in it. Same goes with a survival kit.
Just in case, once again, precautions. And then oven mitt.
That oven mitt looks
For
pretty new right there.
this
I've been using that oven mitt since.
because the handle can get quite hot.
It's a little
so together.
worn now.
I've also got a spatula for cooking up my eggs, which I'll have in the morning. Got this little tubing right here. This is
basically a lot of the stuff that I brought on this trip, and I think I mentioned it too, is more precautionary, like the drinking straw in case I ran out of water, or the rope I probably wasn't going to use, or I probably wouldn't use the first aid kit either. But it's all stuff that you should have if you're going out into the backcountry.
This water container.
Multiple things to carry water that I had on me. Not that it's really concerned the mountains because streams and rivers and creeks and lakes are so abundant, but still helps to have because you never know.
I've got an extra pair of socks, an extra shirt.
It is kind of funny watching
some paper plates.
A video like this from the past because I am thinking about things that I should have done better. Things that I should have had on me,
always,
like
never going to the backcountry without
space blanket, and I'm pretty sure that bear spray right there is expired. Know your expiration dates on your bear spray.
My backcountry.
It's very important because it may not work if it's past its expiration date. They're there for a reason.
Come along and say, hey, can you camp here? Say, yep, got this.
Backcountry permit. Back when they used to do that, I don't think they do the physical ones anymore.
I've also brought
Alberta Parks, I believe.
Metal water bottle. So that if I need to go down to the river and I want to take a good quantity of water, I can boil it in that as well. So yeah, this is all the stuff that I brought. including food, which I put away in the bear bins. And I also have a little shovel that's just sitting just over by my tent. Yeah, this is mainly the stuff I brought out here. I'd say 80% of the stuff I brought out here is for a precaution.
Oh yeah, I do.
Like I probably won't use this rope, and I probably won't use this water carrier, or I might not even use this drinking straw. But I have them just in case.
And that's the big thing there too, is I have them just in case, and I know how to use that stuff. So that's important. I'm pretty sure actually that shot right there, in between this clip right here of me walking down to the river and the tent shot, I'm pretty sure maybe 2 or 3 hours passed. It got so hot out there, I had to literally just lay in the tent and basically like have a nap until it cooled down just a little bit, because it was so blistering hot out there.
I decided to head down to the river to test out my drinking straw, and also to explore my immediate area.
I debated a lot on this little scene here, me walking down to the river, when I was editing it. So there were some edits I did where I cut it, I didn't feel like it needed to be there. I also wanted to include it, because it was so hard to get down to that river because of the mud. I didn't want to get my shoes coated in mud, so like you can see the way I'm standing in that shot there is I'm trying to avoid the mud at all costs. It was very muddy. Drinking straw works though. I mean, you have to really suck hard on it, but
Pretty good.
it worked. And that was more so I could test it out again. There's me cutting up some ice, because I wasn't running out of water, but I wanted to make sure I still had enough and that I didn't have to dip into the water in my hiking pack.
So I've decided now to hike to the Upper Kananaskis Falls. It's really close to point actually. That's why I decided to do it. Probably won't take me more than like 20 minutes to get there. Good short hike to kind of get myself ready for a good supper tonight.
And that was a nice little walk, basically. Like it didn't take long at all, maybe 10 minutes. So
something else that I've been doing out here as well when I'm walking, because I am alone, I will yell every once in a while, yell, yo, yo, just to, you know, let any animals that are out there know that I am here. Because, like I said, because I am alone, I'm taking that extra precaution.
that's very important too when you are alone and you are in bear country. Just letting out a little sound every once in a while, you know, yelling, I find is the best way to do it. Some people clap, some people have the ineffective bear bells. I say ineffective because they've been proven ineffective, or in some cases bears are curious about the sound of them. I really need to get back to this waterfall and photograph it actually. Not just video. It's a very beautiful waterfall, and I don't feel like my shots here actually do it justice.
As you can see, I've made it to the Upper Kananaskis Falls, right beside me here. It's really large, much larger than I was expecting. Very loud too. I'm really impressed with it.
The video doesn't do it justice, honestly. It's one of those things where it looks really small, and that's upstream, like there's a lot of little waterfalls there, but this is one of the things that it looks a lot smaller on screen than it actually was in person. Maybe this summer, if the COVID restrictions are lifted in provincial parks, maybe I'll head back out to Upper Kananaskis Falls there. So this was one of the first times actually that I was starting a fire using a flint striker, and this took me actually a lot longer than it is in this video as well. It probably took me a good half an hour, I think, doing it, because you know I wasn't really super experienced with it. I'd maybe started a fire a couple times with it, but like, by no means was I experienced. Now, 4 years later, it might take me a strike or two, maybe three. So a couple seconds to get a fire started, because I think in this, you'll see the tinder that I'm using. Like there's not really anything that's super fluffy in there to take the flame. I think it might be moss actually that catches, and I've used that same moss in the winter time out there.
The time has come to start a fire to cook up some food.
Yeah, I'm trying to start it using the. So the big problem, what I'm doing right there, is I'm using toilet paper to start for one, which yeah, you can get it, but it's a lot more effort. The moss that's right above it actually would start much easier. I'm pretty sure it is what lights. And also, I'm so far away from what I'm trying to get to light. You have to kind of get right in there and hold it, the flint striker steady, and kind of shave. That's how I would describe it, how to do that. You can see like how far away the flint striker is from what I'm actually trying to light. So like I'm really far away, I need to actually be closer in to really get that to go. And that's what I do now. I find dryer lint works really well. See, the moss, it was the moss that started on fire. And we got fire. That was a nice night actually. I remember it didn't get too cold till a little later. Those beans were excellent.
Alright, my dinner is ready. Fried green beans.
For some reason I couldn't, either I couldn't or I didn't want to unhook that fork from the rest of the utensils. Didn't want to for some reason. And there was the view from sitting in my tent there. I thought it was pretty nice. That's where I get all thoughtful.
Okay, well, my first day has almost come to a close. Just had supper. Wanted to talk about some of the things that were the highlights of the day and some of the struggles also of the day. Since
I still do stuff like this to a degree.
No electronic.
Not as formal, I think.
Access.
And as much as a formal sit down like I'm kind of doing here.
I brought my phone with just in case of an emergency. But it is currently dead now, and it didn't have any service anyways. I'd say one of the struggles is knowing that you're out in the middle of nowhere, and also knowing that if something were to go wrong, that I can't contact someone like right away. Fortunately, I have let somebody know that I am out here, and if I'm not back by a certain time tomorrow, that something is wrong. Always do that when you're coming out into the backcountry. Let someone know.
Yep, listen to Sean here.
Let them know exactly where you plan on going. Try not to go anywhere else. Because search and rescue, if they do come for you, it will be much harder for them to find you if you're not in the area that you were supposed to be. Okay,
hey, kitty.
So highlights of the day. Easily doing the short.
Let's bring the cat into the video. I'll pause this quickly and grab the cat. You want to be in the video? Here we go. Want to watch the video with me?
Kananaskis Falls. Beautiful, brilliant. The feeling that came across me when I saw that was just joy, calming.
I get that feeling a lot when I'm out.
In awe of the magnificence of that.
I'm out in nature.
Beautiful
I really
waterfall.
like it.
I'd seen pictures of it online before. I'd looked it up, but
yeah,
it's much more.
She doesn't come into my office a whole lot.
That's what anything is out
She's
here.
kind of checking stuff out.
You can watch a video, you can see a picture of the mountains and stuff, but once you get out there, nothing is as good as an experience.
But nothing is as good as
so
an
far
experience.
today,
That's the
this is
thing.
a
Even looking
pleasant
back on this
experience.
video, I don't fully remember what it was like in that moment. But the video provides a little bit of a snapshot
As the sun
into
goes
that.
behind the towering
Right?
mountain peaks, I decide it's time to break out my harmonica and test my playing skills.
I tried. If you couldn't tell, I was inspired by Survivor Man. That cat scratches not from Miss Kitty. She doesn't scratch. sun was starting to set. You want to get going? Here, I'll let you go.
The sun is beginning to set, casting purple and orange colors throughout the valley.
And again, doesn't do it
The
justice.
temperature begins to drop.
These shots here, what it actually looks like.
There
was a couple other people out there that night, so that made it a little easier to sleep, I guess. I think I slept through the night mostly. So now it's morning, and we will press play. By this point, to get that shot, I was already up, by the way. And yeah, you can tell
it was really cold throughout the night.
I was really cold,
Woke
that's
up
right.
a few times with shivers. I'm not even sure how much sleep I got because I felt like it was all just one long period of time where I was awake.
I don't think I had a sleeping bag back then that was
sun's
as
out
good
now.
for the cold compared to when
Got
I went
fire
backcountry
going,
camping
so
in the
I'm
winter.
starting to warm up.
That was a good sleeping bag. I
Get out
was
of
not
here
cold
for
in the
a
winter
couple
for
hours.
that. But this one, it may have got
Even
below
though
freezing
it's
that night.
kind of cold
Got
right now.
pretty
You can see my
cold.
breath. It's beautiful out here right now.
It did
Sun
warm up very fast
hitting the
though.
mountains. Absolutely beautiful.
For my breakfast, I fry up some eggs over the fire.
The eggs that I had too hot of a fire on,
They're crispy, but they should be pretty good.
they were okay. A little burned, now that I think about it. Yeah, they were a little burned. There's a reason I didn't say, oh, these eggs are so good, yum.
Alright, time to tear this stuff down.
I really like this song. I've used it in some videos since. It's a good kind of end of a epic video, I guess. Some of the bigger videos of
As I
camping
say farewell
trips.
to my campsite, I carve my initials into the tree beside where I pitched my tent, as a way
Wouldn't
to
do that
commemorate
anymore.
this trip.
And I would not recommend doing that.
By isolating myself from most modern conveniences, I've allowed myself to have an experience that has heightened my appreciation for these magnificent lands.
It was a very beautiful
My hope
morning. As
now
you
is
can
that
see,
others will
the
follow
lake
suit
water was like
and
glass.
become one with
Not
nature as
moving
I
at
did
all.
these past 2 days.
Beautiful morning. I was very proud of the end credits in this. How I edited the picture to kind of slide over like that. Created entirely by Sean Norris. Yeah. And those are the locations I was at. My Panasonic G7 and GoPro Hero 4 Silver. Now I have a Hero 8 Black. Journey Alberta production. Had to come back for the camera. And there's actually a look too at one of my really old logos that I used to use. Had to come back from the camera, as was the case for a few of the shots in this video, where I would set the camera up and then walk in one direction. But that is it for this director's commentary. I really enjoyed watching this video again. I haven't seen this video in years, and it was kind of nice to kind of reminisce about it because I was pretty new at doing the videos back at this point. I wasn't at Alberta Parks Ambassador. I don't even think I'd cracked 100 subscribers yet on YouTube. And yeah, I had this idea that I thought it would make a good kind of 20-minute video of going out and showing my first backcountry camping experience solo. And I had fun. And have I done it since? Yeah, I've definitely done it since. I've definitely backcountry camped since. Yeah, I have. And it's different. It's a different kind of experience. You feel really close to nature though when you're out in it. So I recommend it if you haven't. And I also recommend you are prepared when you're heading out with anything. Be prepared. Make sure you've got adequate supplies, food stuff especially, and you'll be fine. Hopefully this will inspire you to get out when the COVID restrictions are lifted, but until then, I'm going to try and do some more of these. Hopefully you guys enjoy them. If you would like me to do any specific one, just leave me a comment, let me know. And I'm very happy to take suggestions for these kinds of videos. Like they're fun for me to kind of go back and look at these videos and remember about these trips that have passed, and hopefully it's fun for you guys as well. Like I said, comment down below which next one you'd like to see me do. Subscribe for new videos coming every Friday. I'll see you next week.